Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm doing episode 3 of a more recent series that I started here on my channel called My Number One Makeup Right Now. This is a little different than a favorites video because it's not all new things that I loved over the past month. These are like the things out of my entire makeup collection that I can't stop reaching for. I wanted to make this a series because my go-to makeup definitely changes, and it's also cool to see what doesn't change and what stays consistent through my routine as I figure out new products or put things in like my everyday makeup pile. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Before we get into my favorite makeup right now, today's video is sponsored by Karma, which is an app and Chrome extension that makes sure you don't miss a price drop on things you're shopping for online, and also coupon codes. I will have the link down below for you guys to download it. It's completely free. Some of you guys probably already have this app, and actually it used to be called Shop Tagger, but they just recently rebranded, which is really exciting. So now it's called Karma. I have used this app for years. I know you guys have downloaded it as well when I talk about it. I love using it when I online shop. I use it for makeup, home decor, clothes, books, you name it. For me with makeup, I love to organize like my wish list in different categories, and actually my favorite feature I think on the app is the fact that it notifies you when something is back in stock, because if you are an online shopper like me and you shop at a lot of different places, sometimes it's kind of hard to keep track of what comes back in stock or if something goes on sale. So one time I was eyeing this Bobbi Brown art stick for the longest time, and it was sold out on Sephora for months. I kept checking back and it wasn't in stock, so I saved it to my Karma app and I was notified as soon as it was back in stock, and I was able to make that purchase right away. So if you guys want to try it out, just download the Chrome extension, and then while you're shopping online, you can just go to any of your favorite stores, and if you find something that you want to purchase but you kind of want to save it first and either wait for a price drop or again for it to come back in stock, save the item to Karma. This is where you can also organize your products into lists and categories to keep things organized, which I really love. And that's it. It's super easy, and Karma will actually notify you if anything that you saved went on sale or if there's a significant coupon code that you should use, or it'll also notify you if the item you saved comes back in stock, which is awesome. So it's great to be able to see everything from all of these different websites and all different categories right in front of me, so I can be a little more mindful when I am shopping online. And also Karma will actually scan for coupon codes as you're checking out of any website to make sure you're getting the best deal on any online purchases. More recently, they also added a cashback feature on select websites, so really it does it all. I truly feel like it's my personal shopping assistant. You should definitely try it out. Again, it's completely free and it will save you tons of money over time. I have saved so much money using this app. Yeah, I'll have it linked in the description box down below, and let's get into some of these makeup items that I have been absolutely obsessed with. It's so interesting actually for me to be able to see everything that I chose, because I know what I'm into, but when I really have to think about what my number one products are right now, it makes me think a little bit harder, and I'm really proud of the lineup we have here, and some of them might surprise you. Some of them are repeats. I will also have episode 1 and 2 in the description box down below if you guys want to see the past 2 videos that I've done of this video. So let's go ahead and do my makeup. I'm gonna go ahead and start with like a primer, and it's interesting because I've been kind of rotating a few primers, so I didn't have one that I was like, oh, this is the one that I'm super into right now. But I realized that I have been into just kind of like hydrating base products like the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. I've also been loving the Bobbi Brown vitamin enriched face base. So kind of like those classic moisturizer primer type products I've been reaching for a lot. So I decided to put the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream in this video. Again, I almost feel like I use a couple of different types of these creams, but this is the one that's been sitting on my desk the longest recently, so I thought I would use this. I've been really liking the Rare Beauty primers as well, but again, I think I've just been rotating through too many to be able to say like, oh yeah, that's the one I'm using the most. So I love a good cream. And honestly, sometimes if I do a nice hydrated base as my skincare routine in the morning, like if I use a little bit more of a rich cream, I'll even skip primer sometimes these days. So yeah, my number one primer is a good old cream. All right, for foundation, this took me a minute because just like primer, I feel like I've been discovering a lot of really good new foundations. I've been rotating through some older ones. For example, I've been really loving the Monica Blonzer foundation. I've been really into the NARS tinted moisturizer. Some other classics like the Rare Beauty foundation. So there's a few that I'm rotating through, but I also thought about this foundation when I was going through my collection and being like, okay, what am I obsessed with right now and what has been super consistent over the past couple of months? Because the last episode I did was a few months ago, so I wanted to like think about what I've been using the most over that time frame, and it has to be this. This is the Bobbi Brown Skin Longwear Weightless Foundation. This is a really good all-in-one kind of like everyday foundation, but it also works for more glam looks. I feel like it gives me just the right amount of coverage, but it doesn't feel or look too heavy on the skin. It gives me longevity. Like I can wear this for hours and it looks really, really good at the end of the day. So I think that's why I've been reaching for it on like an everyday basis, because of that kind of versatility that it has, where I can know that if it's like an everyday look and I'm gonna be wearing it for the entire day, it's gonna last a really long time. And on the same note, if I'm gonna do a glam look, it's also gonna last through anything. So I wear the shade Warm Ivory, in case you're wondering. I did about 2 pumps on the back of my hand, and I'm gonna take this on a foundation brush and just start smoothing this out all over the skin. And you can see how the coverage is there, but like my skin still shows through, which I love. It's kind of wild to like see myself change my foundation preferences, I feel like. The older I get, I feel like I definitely have started to really enjoy more sheer foundations. I love a good full coverage moment, don't get me wrong. I love a good full coverage moment, but on an everyday basis, I am feeling so much more comfortable in my skin these days. I feel like my skin has really improved over the past several months especially. I don't get as many active breakouts as I used to. I still have some scarring on my face from previous breakouts, but maybe I'm just not caring as much. I don't know. I don't know if my skin looks the same as it did a couple months ago. I'm doing another pump just because I do want a tiny bit more coverage just here on the jawline. And I'm taking what's left and going over the cheeks one more time because that's where I have the most redness. But yeah, I just have been really loving being able to look in the mirror at the end of the day and look like myself completely. Not that my other routines or foundations don't do that for me, but this foundation especially really stays looking like skin. So yeah, I've been really enjoying it. It's funny because I actually have tried this foundation before, like a couple of years ago when it launched, but that was back when my skin was pretty sensitive and super acne prone. So I had to use quite a bit to get the coverage that I needed. So I didn't find myself reaching for it a lot. And then I revisited it a couple months ago and I have been loving it ever since. You can totally see how my skin still looks like skin. The finish is really great. It still settles down and locks in with that longevity that I love. But honestly, I feel like if you saw me in person or saw me out with just this, you would think that I don't have makeup on. But it still gave me like the coverage that I personally need to feel super confident, you know, going out and about. For concealer, I have been back on the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. I don't know, this has been sitting on my desk for weeks now and I've been using it nonstop. It's such a classic. I'm gonna go ahead and just apply this underneath the eyes. We'll do a little around the nose and I'll use a little bit to cover up any blemishes that I want a little more faded. I'm gonna blend this out with my same sponge. Oh, by the way, I use the shade Vanilla. I'm gonna go ahead and take what's left on the sponge and put this on the eyelid too to cancel out any discoloration there. Now we're gonna go ahead and go into some powder, and I am back on the Thrive Cosmetics Filtered Effects powder. This powder is phenomenal. It's so good. I'm gonna go ahead and take a little bit of this on a brush, and I'm gonna set the NARS concealer with that first. I like this because it blurs and really locks in your makeup, but it has never felt dry, even underneath my eyes. This is definitely like my top translucent powder. Well, right now, obviously, that's why it's in this video, but it could very well be my top favorite if I had to pick one. It's just so good. I'm gonna pat away any concealer on the eyelid that's creasing and make sure to set the eyelids. So after the T-zone's locked in, I'm gonna take a fluffier powder brush and take this same exact powder and just kind of lightly tap that on the outside of the face just to set everything for longevity. And I'm using a powder bronzer today, so I wanna make sure that that blends out nicely. I'm gonna go back in with my sponge really quickly to just press everything down. Let's move on to bronzer and then I'll do brows. I kind of like to do that order for some reason when I'm doing my base first. For bronzer, I am back on my Milani Silky Matte Bronzing Powder. I've been using this like crazy all over again. I feel like, did I mention this already in one of my #1 videos? I feel like maybe I did in the first one, I could be wrong, and then I think I changed it up for the second one, and now it's just back. It's fully back in my routine. I love this stuff so much. I'm gonna go ahead and bronze up the face with this. I'm putting it in the hairline, and of course on the cheeks, and then I'm also gonna go along the jawline, under the chin, and take what's left down the neck. There's just something about this formula and the tone and the texture that I cannot get enough of. I honestly don't know if this will ever leave my routine. It's just that good. I'm gonna go down the sides of the nose slightly and underneath the nose and a little underneath the lip. All right, now I'm gonna go back into the fluffy powder brush that I used and just gently go over the edges to make sure everything is super soft and blended. I'm just brushing up my brows with my spoolie, which leads us to my next point. I'm kind of shocked about this because in the last 2 videos, my Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil was my #1. This obviously still is my #1 brow pencil. However, I have been using brow pens nonstop. So I felt like it would be very appropriate to replace my Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil this time around for these 2 brow pens. I use both. They're both from the drugstore. One is the Milani Weekend Brow and then the NYX Lift and Snatch. I like layering the 2. I'll use both like on their own too, but I'm just so extra with this right now. I don't know why. I love using this Milani one for the outside of the brow. This is the shade Medium Brown. So I just fill in the outside first. These also work great layered over a brow powder or a pencil even if you just want a little more structure and definition. These are great for that. I also love how they brush out so nicely. So sometimes with brow pens, they're not as easy to brush out, and so if you make a mistake, it's kind of like you ruin the brows. With this formula, I feel like you can really brush it out and it looks fine. I'm gonna go into the NYX Lift and Snatch. I'm gonna use this one for the front of the brow. And then I'm just gonna gently brush that through as well. I don't know, I just love how that looks. Okay, I'm actually gonna finish up the face and then we're gonna do an eye look. My #1 highlight right now is a throwback that came back into my routine with full force. It's the Benefit Dandelion Twinkle highlight. It's so pretty, it's so subtle and soft. It has a beautiful champagne pink undertone. And it just works for both everyday and more glam looks. I've been loving it. I'm gonna go ahead and apply this to the high points of the face. I'm gonna kind of pop it underneath the eyebrow, around the brow too, and a little on the fronts of the cheeks. I'm gonna take a little down the center of the nose and on the cupid's bow. Isn't it pretty? I love this highlight. Plus it smells really good. Is anyone else obsessed with the smell of these box blushes and highlights? I'm obsessed with them. I love how each one smells and each one kind of has a different scent. But yeah, that highlight smells really good. I'm just taking my sponge and pressing that into the skin so that it looks like it's coming from within. I love how that's looking. Okay, my favorite blush right now, this was a no-brainer for me. It's actually a new blush from Bare Minerals, but as soon as I tried it out, it's been my top one for sure for however long it's been. I don't know, a month, 2, a month and a half. I couldn't really tell you, but just know it's definitely my top favorite blush right now. So this is the Bare Minerals Blonzer in the shade Kiss of Pink. I still haven't tried the other shades. I probably should because I'm sure I would enjoy them, but Kiss of Pink is my #1. I'm taking this on the Blooming Blush Brush, which is also Bare Minerals, and I'm obsessed with this brush to be used with this because I feel like it really just sculpts the face, like it keeps the shape of my cheek. Do you see what I mean? I can just kind of press it on the face and drag it up and it like creates a really beautiful shape on the apples of my cheeks. Just taking my powder brush and going underneath the eye and right here to make sure that the edges are blended. Okay, love that blush. For eyeshadow, this is also a newer product to me. I've honestly been doing really simple eye looks with just my bronzer, my blush usually, but I wanted to put this in here because this is like the eyeshadow palette I'm the most excited about right now, and it's the KKW Beauty Matte Mauve palette. I'm obsessed with this palette. It's definitely new to me, which is why it doesn't look too used, but just know that I have used it like crazy. We're gonna create a little look with it. I think I wanna use this shade right here. This is called Dewdrop. I'm gonna start off with this, and I'm gonna work this into the crease as my transition shade. I felt like this might be nice with that blush color, and it looks like it's matching really well. That's what I like about this palette. I mean, first of all, it's all matte, so it's a really chic palette, you can just do an entire matte look, but the colors are really special in my opinion. So it's not just a basic everyday neutral brown matte palette, which don't get me wrong, I love those, but I feel like there's something a little different about this one that makes me feel more put together when I use it, because the color palette is a little bit different, but still super wearable, which is why I've been reaching for it so much when I do decide to do a full eye look. So I'm just gonna continue to blend that up and out. I'm gonna take that same brush and that same shade, I'm gonna pinch the brush and apply that along the lower lash line as well. Okay, next up, I'm gonna take the shade right next to it. It's a really pretty cool toned taupey mauve. It's called Muted Mauve actually. And I'm just gonna take this on a smaller brush. I'm gonna tap off the excess again. And I'm just gonna start creating a little more shape through the crease and on this outer edge here. Have I ever told you guys that every time I say edge here, which I feel like I say it in every video that I do an eyeshadow look, I always think of Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran, there we go. Because edge here, when I say it fast, sounds like I'm saying Ed Sheeran. And I'm sorry, because I feel like now that you know that, you may never unhear Ed Sheeran when I say edge here, okay? I feel like I've meant to tell you guys that for like 2 years, but I just didn't want to ruin it for you. So I'm sorry if I ever say edge here again in a video and you only think of Ed Sheeran. How gorgeous is that color? Honestly, truly, it is so pretty. I'm kind of being a little messy with this because I'm gonna go in with one of the matte shades to clean up the lid. So I'm not trying to make it too perfect on the inner portion of the eyelid. I am gonna take that on a slightly smaller brush, just the same color. And I'm gonna throw this up close to the lower lash line just to create a bit more definition on the lower lash line too. Okay, now I'm gonna go into what I feel like may be one of my favorite shades in the palette, which is actually the lightest shade right here. I might mix in the other one, we'll see. This is called Blushed Jasmine. There's just something so beautiful about this super light pink that I love as my lid shade especially. Isn't that beautiful? Am I crazy, or is that like the most beautiful light pink you've ever seen? So you'll see I'm just kind of carving that out a little bit. I'm gonna fix the edge in a minute out here, the Ed Sheeran. But anyway, yeah, I love this shade. And I'm gonna make sure to really get this close to the lashes on the top lid, because when I open my eyes, I want that color to be very visible because I love it so much. All right, I'm going back in with the first brush we used. I didn't add any extra product. I'm just trying to blend all those colors together so that there's no harsh lines. Let's take a bit of that same color and go right here on the lower lash line. I don't think I've tried that before. Kind of using it to brighten up this area, but I think that looks so pretty. Do we put it in the inner corner? Well, I just did, so I like that too, actually, as a little inner corner highlight. I've never really used a matte light pink as an inner corner, but I really like that. While we're at it, why don't we throw it underneath the brow bone? And then I'm actually gonna take this shade. We haven't used this shade yet. This is called Dusty Violet. I'm gonna take a tiny bit of that and just throw it in the crease. I don't know. Yeah, I like that. Okay. I was gonna use that first shade that we used in the transition, but I wanted something a little more pinky purple to tie in the lid tone. Is this not such a pretty eye look? I don't know. I love it. And there's really beautiful matte deep purple shades too if you want to do something even more intense. I'm gonna leave it at that. I think it looks really nice. I'm gonna sweep away any fallout under the eye, and honestly there's not any. For mascara, I would have to say my #1 mascara right now is the Maybelline Lash Sensational. I mean, I definitely rotate through mascaras. I really like a lot of them, but this is the one that's been the most consistent recently. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this to the top and bottom lashes. And with this palette specifically, something about this mascara looks so good in front of these matte shadows. I don't know. Maybe I'm just making it up, but to me, I love pairing this mascara with a nice matte eye look. Especially when I have a little bit of a lighter color on the lid, I just really like the effect that it gives. You know what else I've been really liking? When my lashes on the lower lash line are a little more piecey, I feel like it gives subtle 60s vibes, especially with a more matte eyeshadow look, and I'm really into it. Okay, so now I'm gonna wipe off any foundation that got on the lips, which I don't think much product did, but I like to do this anyway, just to make sure. Okay, so lip liner. It's actually like more of a brand than it is a shade. I'm obsessed with the NYX lip liners right now, specifically just their normal lip pencils. I have several shades that I've been obsessed with, one being Nude Beige. I also love Peekaboo Neutral. I also love the shade Natural. I recently bought Pink Beige. Was it that? I can't remember the name of it. I recently bought another one that I really like too. I'm trying to figure out what would look good with this look because I haven't done a look with all these products at once. Let me try out this shade. This is Nude Beige, which, you know, normally I would do something a little more pink, but in order to tie in the eyes and the cheeks, I think this will actually look really good because I definitely want the eyes to have a little more of a focus. Oh, this color, it's amazing. I heard so many makeup artists talking about it recently, so I finally bought it. I think the last time I went to go buy it, it was sold out on Ulta, and then I forgot about it, and then I was reminded and picked it up. I love it. It's so pretty. I think it looks so pretty with that eyeshadow too. I've never worn those two together, and I think it's like a perfect match. So normally I do like a lipstick or something. I honestly haven't really been wearing lipsticks. I've been just doing lip liner and a gloss. So I'm just gonna go right into gloss because I don't have a lipstick that I'm using like crazy right now. But the gloss that I've been obsessed with is this Tower 28 Shine On Lip Jelly Gloss in the shade Chill. I'm just obsessed with this right now. I'm gonna go ahead and apply this all over. I always wipe off the tip of the gloss before putting it back in the tube so it doesn't turn my clear gloss colors as I layer it on top of other lipsticks. Okay, let's step back and assess the situation. I'm gonna take my bronzer brush and just throw on a little more bronzer on the forehead. I'm also gonna make sure to brush away any mascara marks. I don't think I have too many. A little bit on that side. I always forget to brush away the mascara marks on my lower lash line. So I'm gonna make sure to do that today. Okay. Let's put a little more of the Thrive Cosmetics powder on the tip of my nose and right here on the sides, just to make sure there's not too much emphasis on my pores there with the blush. Because this blush, I mean, it doesn't emphasize texture, but it does have a bit more of a sheen to it. So sometimes I like to just make sure that the very inner portions of my face doesn't have too much sheen. Otherwise, it will emphasize my pores there. All right, let's go ahead and set the face. I think we're good. Well, a little more blush, maybe just a tiny bit right here, just with what's left. All right, for setting spray, whoa, I'm back on an old favorite, my friends, the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Setting Mist. Oh, I love this stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and, spritz the face. Now this, it's almost done, so sometimes it spits at me if it doesn't have enough product in the little, what do you call that? Just a little tube going down, you know? If I tilt it too much this way, it spits at me, but usually when you have quite a bit in here, it sprays like an absolute dream. I need to just get a new one. I'm letting that dry a little bit. And I'm gonna go over everything one last time with my sponge. And then my last favorite is a product that I'm pretty sure will reoccur forever in this series, and that is my Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. I have yet to find another clear brow gel that does what this does for me. And that's no surprise. You guys probably see it in literally every video of mine. So I'm gonna run that through the brows to set. All right, you guys, so that completes this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing what my #1 makeup is right now. It is so fascinating for me even to see what I would choose as my top product in each category, because so often I notice that like old favorites kind of come back in and I fall in love with things all over again. Sometimes things never change as the months go by. And then there's other things that launch that just immediately fly into the top in the category in my entire collection, like this blush. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, huge thanks to Karma for sponsoring today's video. If you want to download this app to help you shop, I highly, highly recommend it. I truly love this app, you guys. I will have it linked in the description box down below for you. If you're new here, hi, my name is Allie and I would love for you to join the family. You can do so by hitting the subscribe button. And if you're already a subscriber, but you want to be notified on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, click on the bell after you subscribe and you'll get a notification every single time I post. That's it for me today. I would love to know what your #1 makeup is right now in the comments, so be sure to leave a comment if you want to share with us what you are currently loving. I hope you have an amazing day wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye!